So I just finished watching Divergent last night and words cannot express how much I love the Divergent movie. I was so excited. I love the book, and so I was like freaking out for the movie. Like, I was just counting down the days. I couldn't contain myself, and it was so magical. I'm going to do a very brief review without any spoilers, and then I'm going to go into the discussion, which will have spoilers. I guess I'll start with the characters. Shailene was such a great Triss. I think that's how you say her name. I really loved her as Triss, and she is such a great actress, and she just fit Triss so well. I think the majority of the characters just really, or the majority of the actors was just really casted well, and I didn't really have any beef with any of the actors. 4 was great. I heard his accent slip only once, so that wasn't too bad, but he was such a great 4, and Swoon, him and Shailene swoon. Peter, they made him not as mean as I thought he was going to be, and I think I didn't check. I think the rating's PG-13. I don't think it's rated R, and they cut out a few of the, I guess, R scenes, and those involved Peter, and so I think that's why he wasn't as mean. He made people laugh in the movie, and his meanness was kind of funny, and I thought it was funny too, but I didn't want to laugh because I knew how mean he was. I hated it in the book. The music was great. I just fell in love with Ellie Goulding because of the movie. I didn't really care about her before, but I loved the songs that they played in the movie from her, and it just fit so well, and it was shot so beautifully. I love the costumes. I thought the clothes that the factions were wearing were so beautiful, and it was so funny. The Amity, like, they looked like hippies. They just looked like flower huggers, and it was so great. I also really love the Dauntless when they were jumping off the train, and it was just so funny because, like, it just made me so happy seeing them in the beginning of the movie. They were just so crazy and reckless. They just looked like a bunch of juvenile delinquents. They were like rolling around and climbing. It was just so fun. It was such a great energy from Dauntless. The movie made me laugh, it made me cry, like, it was just so exciting and compelling, and I just loved it. Yeah, overall I just think it was a very great adaptation of the book, and I was happy with it. You know, they had to cut some things short, leave some things out, as they do, because it's a movie and it can't be like 10 hours long, but I think they did a pretty good job, and they didn't really take out things that I thought were too essential that, you know, would have changed the whole story, so I think it was a pretty good job. Okay, now I'm just gonna get on to the discussion because I just can't contain myself and I just want to discuss things with you guys. So again, it's gonna have spoilers, so if you didn't see the movie and you don't want it to be spoiled, go watch the movie, you won't regret it, and then come back here and we can talk about it. With Peter, okay, so like I said, they left out some, I believe it's rated PG-13, they left out some R parts, like, and I thought it made him seem less evil, like I said. Like, they left out the part where when he's like throwing her into the chasm, like, you know how he like fondled her boobs and stuff. They left that out. They also left out the part where he stabbed that boy in the eyeball, and I was just waiting for it. I was so scared. I was like, when is he gonna stab someone in the eyeball? But they never showed it. When they were throwing Triss, or they were going to kill Triss and put her into the chasm, I hope it's called chasm, or else that's really odd. I'm saying it wrong over and over. They only showed Al, and the other two people, it was Peter and I forgot Peter's friend. I forgot his name, Drew, I'm not sure. But they only showed Al's face, and they didn't even, the audience didn't even know that it was Peter. So I was like, that's weird, but whatever. Speaking of Al, they didn't really feature Al that much at all. They kind of just showed him in the beginning, and he was just there moving throughout the movie, and then he was throwing her into the chasm, and then he died. They didn't really show him too much. I thought he was a really bigger character in the book, and they didn't really show him in the movie as having kindness. I really liked Al in the book until he like betrayed Triss, but he just had so much kindness in his heart, and also he was portrayed as like, I had a big monster man image, kind of like Dimitri. Like, I thought he was gonna be a big buff and tough guy, but he was kind of just a tall, skinny-ish dude. He looked so much like Will, and they didn't explain too much Will and Al's character. They're kind of just like, this is Will, this is Al, and they looked really similar. So throughout the movie, I was getting confused. I was like, wait, who are you again? Are you Will? Are you Al? So that was kind of junk, but I don't know. They weren't in the movie too much, so it wasn't that bad. I loved the choosing scene, when you choose your faction, when Triss was like dropping her blood into like either Dauntless or Abnegation. Like her blood was like dripping into this big drop and it was about to like fall, and it was still over Abnegation, and it was just so anxiety filled. I was just like, move your hand, Triss! I absolutely love in the book, like the last lines of every chapter, Veronica Roth makes it so like just so emotional and so gripping. And in the book, when she chooses, she's like, I am selfish, I am brave. And I love that line, and it was my favorite line, and she didn't say it. I mean, she wasn't talking during the choosing scene, but I thought it could have been like, you know, her thoughts speaking, and she was like, I thought she was gonna debate while choosing, but it was still a really gripping scene with her blood almost like falling in Abnegation. But I really wanted her to be like, I am selfish, I am brave. Oh, another gory part they left out was that when they were jumping across the roof, that person didn't die. You know how some person died in the book, like she didn't make it? Yeah, they didn't show that, and I was like, oh, that's so PG-er, but it's okay. The gap was big. I was like, I wouldn't have made it. It was so funny how they were fighting. They're like, ha ha. The kissing scene between Triss and Four, I loved it, and I got feels, but I just, like, Four's nose was squished up against Triss's face the whole kissing scene, and it was kind of a longer kissing scene, and it was just borderline. I almost laughed. So I kind of wish that his nose wasn't squished against her face the whole time. Like, it was literally like this. I was just like, Four, get your nose out of Triss's face. It's not as romantic, but it's okay. Some scenes were cut a little shorter. I can understand because of time, so it wasn't like a problem. It was just like I noticed that like the Ferris wheel scene was kind of abrupt, and she didn't like almost fall off and die. And the testing scene where she gets the serum, it was a little shorter. She didn't meet the man on the bus, but it was okay. I still really liked it. Moving towards the end, I loved when everyone was like kind of brainwashed, all the Dauntless, when they got that like serum, and they were just so like robotic and zombie. It was so cool, and it was so, oh my gosh, it was so just emotionally tugging when Four grabbed her hand and she realized he was Divergent. Also, like, obviously I knew that he was gonna grab her hand, but I was just waiting. I was like, grab her hand, grab her hand. When Triss's mom died, I cried so hard. Shailene was so freaking amazing. Like, her acting, it was so raw and emotional, and I just felt like I was dying. Like, it was, when she was screaming and her tears, and it was so real. It was so real. I applaud you, Triss. When her dad died, though, it was very short. Like, it was kind of just like, I'll save the day, and then he like died, and then she's like, no, my dad died. But it's like, in the book, it was a lot longer, so they kind of cut his death short, but it was still sad. And in the end, when, okay, this was a big difference. That it wasn't bad, I was just really surprised. When Four has the serum, the advanced serum, he was just him and the computers in the book. But in the movie, it was Four, and it was like 15 erudites. Who even knew it was erudite anyway? I thought it was erudite. But it was like 15 erudites and Janine and like all the computers, and I was like, what are they gonna do? And the scene between Four and Triss when they struggle and she's like gonna shoot herself in the head, that was like in front of everybody, and they were just watching it happen, and then they both realized like that he's out of it and stuff, and then he goes and attacks everybody, and she goes and helps, and it was just so, it was great. And she threw a knife at Janine's hand, and then she like gave her the serum, and she stopped the program and wiped it. So that was very interesting. It was very different, but it was good. And oh my gosh, the fight between her and Four, though, is so heartbreaking. She did like a flying armbar on him. I was like, holy crap! Rotten Tomatoes gave it like a 46%, which I was like, what the shit? What's wrong with you? But I don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes. They don't score anything good except for like movies that I don't even like, they score good. Fandango though, like the fans said go, which I was thinking they should have said must go, and the critics said so, and I was like, you guys are liars, what's wrong with you? The movie was great, I want to see it again, which is like saying shit because I don't rewatch movies. I don't. The only 2 movies I like rewatch, or 3, are like Shaun of the Dead, Titanic, and Moulin Rouge. Anything else, if I watch it again, I'm like, dear God, I saw this already. So those are my thoughts on the movie. If you guys saw it, I would love to know what you think so we can just we can converse and fan over it together. If you didn't see it, go watch it. It's amazing. You won't regret it. Support the movie. Thanks guys. See y'all later.